It is summertime, it's a holiday weekend, and I'm making homemade banana pudding. Old school banana pudding, traditional banana pudding, the way your grandmama used to make banana pudding. We're not taking any shortcuts. We're not using anything out of a box, no pudding mixes. It does take a while to make the real stuff. To make old school banana pudding, of course you have to have a double boiler. This is an absolute necessity or you cannot make traditional banana pudding. So I have the bottom of my double boiler filled with water and I'm going to mix all of my ingredients right in the pan. I don't need a bowl. I don't need anything special. Just think about back to your grandmother's days. She didn't have the fancy whisks and all the things. They just did it right in the bowl. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I don't have the heat on yet on my double boiler, but I'm going to add 1 cup of sugar and a 1/2 cup of self-rising flour. And it has to be self-rising. You can't do all-purpose. It will not substitute. Then this is super important. This is exactly how my mother-in-law taught me, and I never miss this step. You want to take your clean hands and you just want to mix the sugar and the flour together in your bowl by hand. You don't use a fork, don't use a whisk, don't use a spoon, just use your fingers. And there's something about putting the love in the banana pudding that makes it so good. So now I'm going to go on and turn my water on low just to get some heat on it and get it going and kind of get this process rolling. I have a 12-ounce can of evaporated milk. Give this a good shake. Add your evaporated milk directly into your flour and sugar mixture. And then you want to take this can and fill it up with regular tap water and also add it to your mixture. You need 2 eggs, and I'm just going to simply crack the eggs into my empty can. I'm going to beat them up with the fork to make sure that they're well beaten, and I'm going to add it into the mixture. This is the simple way to do it. I'm just beating the eggs in the can. And before I dump this in, I do need a whisk at this point. I want to gently blend together my evaporated milk with my sugar and flour in the pan before I add my egg. You can just kind of feel when it's incorporated. Now drop your egg mixture in there, and you need to add 1 teaspoon of a really good vanilla. I'm just going to eyeball this because in my opinion you can never have too much vanilla. So you can turn your heat up at this point. This is what your mixture is going to look like. The egg is going to be separated. That is no big deal. And you want to keep it slowly moving just like this. Your water is going to come to a boil. That's exactly what you want it to do. But we're going to continue to mix this for a while. While your water is coming to a boil, go ahead and get out 2 tablespoons of real butter, not the fake stuff. Real butter. It can be salted, unsalted, doesn't matter. You just need 2 tablespoons and set it out on the countertop so that it can start to get soft. If you know anything about banana pudding, then you know 3 things. The base, the pudding base that we're making right now is exactly the same for chocolate pie, banana pudding, and coconut pie. It's the same exact pudding, and then what you do at the end determines your outcome. You add bananas and vanilla wafers for banana pudding. You add cocoa powder and put it in a pie crust for chocolate pie. Or you add coconut and put it in another pie crust for coconut pie. It is all the same base. When it starts to come to temperature and get hot, you will feel on the bottom of your whisk when it scrapes across the bottom, it's like the pudding on the bottom of the pan starts to get thick and kind of snotty feeling, honestly, kind of slippery feeling. And that's when you know you've come to temperature and you're going to start turning into pudding. You're going to stir this for about 20 minutes. No joke, you really are. And you're going to think the whole time, something's wrong, this is not right, mine's not getting thick. But I promise, when it starts to get thick and turn into pudding, it's going to happen really fast. And then you're going to want to stir it until it's the consistency that you like your pudding. And just know that when the pudding is hot, it's going to be runnier than when the pudding cools. So in the end, mine is going to look like it's not thick enough to be pudding, but when it cools, it is the perfect pudding. You know what you could do while you're stirring your pudding? You could watch one of my other YouTube videos. I have lots of recipe videos on my channel, and this would be a perfect time for you to just stand here and scroll through them. So if you decide to switch over to a silicone scraper or spoon, just make sure that you're not just moving the liquid. You want your scraper to rub across the bottom of your double boiler, because that is where the pudding is going to start to collect, and you want to keep all of that scraped up and incorporated into the pudding as it's moving around. Alex is coming here to check on me, haven't you, bud? He smells the pudding and he wants to know what I'm up to. So my pudding has been on here for 6 minutes, and I'm starting to get this on the bottom. That is perfect. That's exactly what you want. And you want to continue to scrape that up and just incorporate it back into your pudding. So now I'm almost 10 minutes in, and my pudding clumps on the bottom, I'm starting to get a lot of it. And so as I mix my pudding, it's looking really clumpy. It's very liquidy with lots of clumps in it. Do not panic. This is normal. Just keep stirring. And because I'm getting pretty clumpy at this point, I am going to take my whisk and give it a pretty brisk stir to break up those clumps. And your pudding should be really hot at this point, and you should see steam coming out of the side of your double boiler. I am 12 minutes in, and my pudding is getting thick quick. I told you it will happen in an instant, and I'm just gonna keep on letting it get thick for a couple more minutes. I'm calling it. It has been exactly 13 minutes, and my pudding is the perfect thickness. I don't need to keep it on the heat anymore. So let me show you what mine looks like. So my pudding is consistent, it's silky, it's thick, it's gloppy, and I am going to turn off the heat. So now that our pudding is perfect, take the top pan of your double boiler off of the heat and just set it on your countertop. And you want to drop your 2 tablespoons of butter directly into your pudding. So this is the point in the recipe that my version of banana pudding is going to take a turn. Traditional banana pudding is layered with bananas and vanilla wafers and your pudding. I have a picky husband. He will not eat vanilla wafers. So I actually make my banana pudding in a graham cracker crust. And honestly, because I've been eating it this way for so many years, I now prefer it this way. There's something about the saltiness of the graham cracker with the sweetness of the pudding that I now prefer. But you can do your banana pudding either way. So your butter should have been melting in your pudding. Ooh, look at that. You just want to give this a really good stir until your butter is completely melted and incorporated into your pudding. See, there's my pat of butter. I'm just going to keep mixing. So my butter is completely melted, and look at that goodness. Oh me, oh my. Now this is some hot pudding. You just want to set this to the side, and we're going to prep our bananas. So from this point forward, it is easy peasy. We are almost finished. All you need is 3 or 4 very ripe bananas. No green bananas in banana pudding. This is the simple way to do it. Just pull open your banana and leave the peel on the bottom half. And if you have one of those little veins, just peel it off. And then cut your banana. If you like small slices, if you like them bigger, you don't have to do that. Just cut it right here in the banana peel and drop in your banana pieces. You want a good layer of bananas on the bottom, so I'm going to do one more. I'll show you that trick again. Cut your banana in half, and then just chop it right here in your hand. That looks perfect to me. And then pour your banana pudding over your bananas. smooth it out so that all of your bananas are in the pudding. You don't want them to peek out at all or they will turn brown. So y'all, there you have it. This is old school traditional banana pudding. Can you see the steam still coming off that pudding? Oh, but it smells so good. So I'm gonna let this sit out on the countertop until it cools down almost to room temperature, and then I'm gonna store it in the refrigerator and absolutely lick the spoon. I cannot wait to dig into this tonight. We're having a huge holiday dinner with ribs on the smoker, pasta salad, corn on the cob, twice baked potato casserole, and old school banana pudding for dessert. See you later.